Hey folks, David Tao from barbend.com, and today we're recapping some of our favorite weightlifting moments from the Tokyo Olympics. Now, I do say some because, well, the article that Jake Dixon wrote for barbend.com features 8. I'm going to cover 5 today, but there were so many great and impactful moments in the sport of weightlifting at the Tokyo Olympics that it's impossible for us to cover them all. So this is one of those videos that's sure to not make everyone happy. All that to say, if we miss any of your favorite moments in the article, which is linked below, or in these video highlights, be sure to let us know in the comments. We'd love to hear from you. But before we go into our top moments, make sure to Google Barbend plus weightlifting or Barbend plus Olympic weightlifting coverage to stay up to date on all things weightlifting. The first moment we're going to highlight was at the top of many recap lists, and that came in the women's 55 kilogram category. Hidilyn Diaz of the Philippines becomes that country's first ever Olympic gold medal winner. Not just in weightlifting, in any sport. It was a fantastic performance. Her 4th Olympic Games, her 2nd Olympic medal, she got silver in Rio. And even more impressive is that for a lot of the lead up to the Tokyo Olympic Games, she had to train, well, not in a normal gym. Due to COVID-19 restrictions, she was training in her apartment, lifting suitcases attached to broomsticks, jugs of water, outdoors in a gazebo with secondhand equipment. I mean, it was a lot to overcome, but she showed up in her best shape ever and was able to edge out her Chinese competitor by a single kilogram, and she is an Olympic champion. That also prevented China, by the way, from sweeping gold in every bodyweight category they entered. So Diaz's first Olympic gold ever for the Philippines has to top the list. Second up, Lasha Talakhadze's world record, all-time fantastic, great performance in the men's super heavyweight category. I mean, what do you say? He snatched 223, he clean and jerked 265. He had a 488 kilogram total, which already topped his all-time world record. I mean, these are numbers that, frankly, a few years ago, I never thought I'd see done at the Olympics. Being able to see that in Tokyo, being able to watch that live, I mean, it was a really special treat for weightlifting fans around the world. By the way, Talakhadze might have another Olympic Games in him as well. I mean, there has basically been no talk of retirement. He's still in his 20s, so this might not be the last we see of his world record-setting, all-time great performances. Here's a good one for American fans. Kate Nye's silver medal performance in the women's 76 kilogram bodyweight category. The best performance by an American, or at least the highest ranking performance by an American in weightlifting at the Olympics since 2000. And Nye becomes the first American woman to ever win silver in weightlifting at the Olympics. It's worth noting that back at the Rio Games, Nye really wasn't on anyone's radar as far as elite internationally competitive American weightlifters. She was still a junior lifter then. She was very good, but she kind of rocketed onto the scene in late 2018 and early 2019 with a series of performances both nationally in the United States and internationally that put her in the conversation as a potential Olympic medalist. To live up to that hype on the world's biggest stage is truly something else. So congrats to Kate Nye, first American woman to ever win a silver medal in weightlifting at an Olympic Games. Here's something you don't see every competition, or at least every Olympic Games, and that's a medalist from the B group. Now, for those who are new to weightlifting or might not be familiar with weightlifting on the international stage, at a competition like the Olympics, also a World Championships, for example, there are different groups of lifters in the same bodyweight category, and they're grouped based off their listed entry totals. So the A session, well, those are the athletes with the higher listed entry totals. Those are the athletes you would expect to compete for medals, and most of the time, the overwhelming majority of the time, all of the medalists come out of the A session. So when an athlete medals out of the B session, by the way, the B sessions often compete earlier in the competition, be it on the day or even days before. For an athlete to medal out of the B session, well, that's notable, and that's exactly what happened in the men's 73 kilogram category. The lifter who medaled out of the B group in the men's 73 kilogram category was Rahmat Erwin Abdullah of Indonesia. Put on a fantastic performance, a 342 kilogram total, a full 22 kilos up on his entry total that was listed heading into the competition to secure bronze. Now, there's debate. Was this strategic, entering him with a lower entry total in order to cause a little bit of misdirection and maybe have some lifters underestimate the totals out of the B group. We don't know for sure, but what is true is medaling out of the B group, certainly a noteworthy achievement, something we have seen before. Hey, we've seen gold medalists out of B groups at Olympic Games, but again, it is a true rarity. You might see it once in Olympic Games, maybe not even that frequently. Congratulations to Abdullah. Let's move to the women's super heavyweight category, and it is impossible not to talk about this Olympic Games and weightlifting at this Olympic Games without discussing the achievement of New Zealand's Laurel Hubbard. She became the first openly transgender athlete to compete at an Olympic Games. Didn't have the competition she was probably hoping for. She actually bombed out in the snatch, and at the Olympic Games, if you bomb out in the snatch, you can't come back to attempt clean and jerks, so maybe not the competition she wanted on the day, but her achievement, certainly historic, representing New Zealand on the world's biggest athletic stage. Now, her participation in the Olympic Games caused a lot of controversy and discussion online, but it is worth noting she does become the first openly transgender athlete to compete at an Olympic Games. Certainly a historic moment, not just in weightlifting, but for the Olympics in general. I just want to point out these are not all of the moments worth writing about, not all of the heartbreaking, groundbreaking, historic, inspirational moments from weightlifting at the Tokyo Olympic Games. I mean, we did cover every bodyweight category from the Olympic Games on barbend.com. We wrote about a lot. I mean, there are 3 more in the article Jake Dixon wrote about, and just some more off the top of my head. Sarah Robles becoming a back-to-back medalist at 2 different Olympic Games for the United States. She's the first woman to ever do that in weightlifting. I mean, that could be its own video, and maybe we should actually film that video. Anyway, we want to know which moments really stood out to you, whether they're in this video, in the accompanying article linked below, or not. Let us know in the comments below. I'm David Tao. Thank you for tuning in.